Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome, but if you've been here before, welcome back. During these crazy times, we're all desperate for distractions, and frankly, I really need one today. But I'm feeling in one of those moods where I just need something a little bit better than the usual, grumpy self that I am. So what I thought we could do is watch Life by Jen's Keto Day 7 and Week 1 weigh-in, because I'm really hoping for something positive right now. These are crazy times, and I know that our other girls at the moment are not doing so hot. So maybe, just maybe, there's a glimmer of hope here. It is not my intention to be nasty, and frankly, she's doing keto, and so that's something that I'm quite passionate about, and hopefully we can share some stories or some information throughout this video. In the meantime, let's get started. Oh, and by the way, Who Is She is back. I don't match her today, so... I don't match her today. Anyway, here we go.
Good morning, TVs, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new,
Good morning, Jen.
welcome to you as well. My name is Jennifer, and this is my channel. I am currently doing a July weight loss journey challenge, and that is with keto, kind of like a keto reboot. I was on keto last summer, I believe it was, and off and on trying to be through the rest of the year. Didn't really do well. Last summer I did do well. I lost approximately, I think it was 60 pounds. Did really well until I decided that I wasn't going to do it anymore, and then I gained it all back.
Wait. But why did you decide not to do it anymore? I don't understand. If you were having all the success and it was making you feel good about yourself, why didn't you just keep doing it? It's hard work. In my last video, somebody wrote oh, keto sounds like it's hard, and it is. It is. But what I have found is that even though it's hard work, once you get in the habit of it, it's super easy. And I never feel hungry. I never feel anything except for satiated, and I feel okay with myself. I do struggle with it at times, and it's hard, when you're going to go out to eat all the time, or you're going to get fast food, whatever. It's really difficult, and a lot of times when we go out, my husband and I, for dinner, which we hardly ever do, because I seem to be cooking all the time, particularly these days, I have to, sometimes look at the menu before I go there. I have to look online and find the menu, whatever, and decide what I'm going to have. But, if you were doing so well, why did you quit? I mean, guys, what... See, but this is one of the things that I know we're 2 seconds into this clip, but this is one of the things with all of these girls that I find is they find something that might work for them, or whatever, and then they can't keep it up, and I don't understand why. Okay, I'll tell you another story in a second, but let's keep going. Here we go.
So here I am, and in a few minutes I'm going to show you everything I ate on Tuesday, which is my 7th day of keto, and it's currently the lights in my eyes. 7:03 a.m. on Wednesday morning, July the 8th, and I stepped on the scale this morning, and I'm going to share my weigh-in with you, and I'm going to tell you how my week went, and then like I said, after I do that, then you'll see everything I ate yesterday, and kind of some things that went on yesterday. Not a whole, a lot of things, just little clips of things I wanted to include in my video. So my first week back on keto, it went really, really well. I have to say that I'm feeling a lot better already. My heartburn is gone. I was having almost nightly heartburn of when I was eating fast food and junk and just eating late at night. I'm trying not to eat as late at night, and I'm trying to do intermittent fasting as well. Not every day is an intermittent fasting day. Not every day I make it to 16 hours. Sometimes I just make it to 12 or 14, but at least I'm trying.
Okay, wait. There are different amounts of time that you can do intermittent fasting, and virtually what that means is that you're sticking to ideally just water, but some people could say that coffee and tea is okay during that time as well. I do intermittent fasting. I go virtually 24 hours. I only have one meal a day, and that's extreme for a lot of people, and that doesn't work for everybody. But I find that the foods that I eat keep me full for so long that actually I don't need to eat all the time. That's why, in that one video with Amberlynn Reed, I think she said she was going to set an alarm for every 2 hours, and she was going to eat 6 times a day. That's what really disturbed me, because actually you don't need that. If you're eating the right things, you're not going to be hungry. So avoid carbs, avoid things with MSG, etc. But, and I said in my last video, intermittent fasting is tough. So if she's done this for virtually a whole week and she says she's had a little bit of a slip up, then fine. But this is good news. Why would I be mad at this?
This week, in my 2nd week of keto, I'm going to try to be more precise with my intermittent fasting, try to make it at least 16.
It's hard.
I'd like to bump it up to 18 eventually, but for right now, I'm going to shoot for this week to be on point for 16 hours of fasting for the entire week. So I'll let you know next week how that goes. So like I said, this week was very good. I had everything. There was only one time that I did have something that was not keto, and I did not show it to you guys. It was over the weekend when I wasn't filming everything that I ate. 4th of July, I was worried that I was going to get off track. I was going to eat something that I shouldn't. The cheesecake that I made really helped for the 4th of July weekend, and you're going to see that video recipe coming up probably tomorrow. But on the 4th of July, I did have a 20-ounce bottle of Coke, regular Coke.
Okay.
And
Guys, regular Coke is one of those things that people who go through like glucose or sugar withdrawals. I don't know why that's all. See, I'm very lucky that in my palate, like I'm much more of like a savory person. It'd be much harder for me to give up like I don't know, like a bag of chips or pretzels or something like that. Like it's much harder for me to give that up than it would be like a regular like soda. I mean, at the end of the day, she could have had it like a Coke Zero and a Diet Coke or whatever. Those things are keto-ish. I mean, the Diet Coke is fine, according to which studies you read. Coke Zero, a lot of people have issues with that, but regular Coke is something that she really. You could have just done something a little different, and it would have been a lot better, and then you wouldn't be feeling the remorse that you have now. Here we go.
I shouldn't have done that, of course. It's not keto. Of course, we all know that. But that was my only misstep the whole week, and I'm okay with that. It's not something I'm going to allow myself to keep doing. I can't really say it was a mistake because I was well aware of what I was doing, so I don't really think it falls in the category of a mistake. I wanted it, I craved it, and I just gave into it. I really haven't dealt with any bad cravings this week, and like I did last time, it's not something I'm going to be eating on a regular basis, but in the first week or so, to get myself kind of weaned off of the carby, sweet foods that I'm eating, I try to eat some other things that are sweet, dirty keto, of course, like the Quest bars. I had a couple Quest bars this week. I had one of those, I can't remember what the name of it is, Live bars, Live bars, I can't remember.
No, sorry guys.
That-
A lot of those bars are like it's like they're marketed to be like a healthy alternative, but they're not. There are some, now I haven't lived in America in a long time, and where I live, there's not a lot of people that talk about something like keto. But what I would say though is that those are best avoided. There are other things that you can substitute for them. But one thing I did like about what she just did is she just like kind of took accountability for that. Now, some people are going to come for me and say, "Well, Mike, you don't know her." You're right, I don't know her, and so if she falls off this, I'm gonna have the same attitude towards her that I do the others. But actually, she just owned the fact that she drank that regular Coke, which she shouldn't have done. But she just also, I'm not mad at that. She had a slip up. It's fine. It's fine. Now her body's gonna have to restart after that. It's gonna have because she just filled up her glycogen. Okay. I'm going to give you some advice from the research I have done, and there's a lot of like different research in keto. So, it's a very personal thing, but essentially what happens is that once your body gets into what's called ketosis, you've convinced your body that it can't use sugar anymore. So you essentially told your body stop being lazy and looking for sugar to burn as energy. Your body prefers sugar because it's easier to burn for energy than fat is, right? So but once you have told your body there's no sugar to be had, your body will start burning what's called ketones. And ketones it's an acid that is produced in your liver once your body has switched to using fat to give you energy. Once you break that and you fill back up your glycogen stores until you're really truly fat adapted, your body is going to go back to switching and preferring that sugar. That's why like a diet like this, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I am just a regular person. That's why, in my opinion, it is so like when I do keto, again, like I said, sugary foods have never really been a problem for me. It's the quantity that's always been my problem. But when I hear something like, I just had this, well, you just filled up your glycogen store, so your body has to restart. It has to restart on keto. Um, I'm not mad at her. She's doing fine. Whatever.
I was higher in carbs, and I'm not going to be purchasing those again. But the Quest bars I will purchase again in the coming weeks when I need something sweet. Somebody had suggested
Don't
just
fill
in the
back up your
microwave for a couple
glycogen
seconds,
stores,
and it
please.
was really good that way. So I'm going to try that. The Snickerdoodle Keto cheesecake bars really helped as well. The sugar-free gummies were helping. I do need to increase my veggies. We're in between pay periods right now, and the money is very limited. So I don't have funds to get a lot of fresh vegetables. I do have a lot of frozen vegetables, and I do have some asparagus in the fridge that I need to eat up. But I'm going to try my best to incorporate more vegetables this coming week. And it's just been going really well. I want to make some deviled eggs.
Okay, I have a question, and again, I haven't lived in America in a long time. I can find really good, quality vegetables that are not expensive. I find that, okay, so again, part of keto is that it's higher fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate. So you can eat things like chicken thighs. You can eat like the cheaper cuts of meat, right? Like you might have to put them like in a slow cooker or like a crock pot, or we have a foodie or Ninja Foodie, whatever it is, and I use that like virtually every day because I can cook anything in it. It's like a one pot meal. I can like crisp it, I can air fry it, I can pressure cook it. Anyway, the thing is that I didn't know that vegetables were problematically expensive. Now, I would assume like if you're getting like things that are out of season, or maybe you're getting things that are I don't know, organic, like then that would add up. But that's not an excuse not to eat vegetables. Frankly, frozen vegetables are cheap. They're not as healthy for you as fresh. You can get canned vegetables, which I don't think are great for you anyway. I could pass on all of that. Like I'm happy just to eat like some salad on the side. Like I really don't care. But I don't know why she's making an excuse for that.
And because deviled eggs is good for protein, very low in carbs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so without further ado, I'm just going to show you my weigh-in, and then we will get on with my clips from yesterday, what I ate, and some little things that I did. Let me remind you where I was at. Last week, on July 1st, I weighed in at 570.6. And today, when I weighed in, early this morning, it was like 6:30 when I weighed in. I was excited. I got up, used the bathroom, and got on the scale right away. So here is my weigh-in from just about less than an hour ago.
Hello.
Oh my god, no. That's the same scale Amber Lynn Reed uses. Oh my god. Jen. Why are you using the same scale Amber Lynn has? It just went hello and it's about to go, it's ready. What are you doing? Oh my god, come on.
It's ready. 561.4 pounds.
So as you can see, this morning I weighed in at 561.4, and that is a 9.2 pound loss for the week.
That's
Very
great.
happy about that.
Good news.
Extremely happy.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference. I'm sure looking at me, you're not going to be able to tell the difference yet. It's going to take a while.
Well,
But I can feel a difference. I don't feel it's bloated in my stomach. The part of my stomach that hangs down on my legs, it doesn't feel as heavy and bloated as it usually does. I have started to have a little bit more energy. On Saturday evening, I was having, this is another reason why I drank the Coke. I justified it as this, but there was other ways to avoid this symptom. But I was having a headache, and I think it was my body detoxing from the sugar, and the easiest thing for me to do, and I just justified it because I wanted a Coke. It was just I grabbed the Coke, and my headache went away.
Yeah, wait. She's right. Your body does have to detox itself from sugar. And so that's what it makes people not feel great, and it convinces a lot of people to stop eating keto straight away because they're like, oh, I just don't feel well. And that's a symptom of a few different things. Number one, you're probably not drinking enough water. You're probably not eating enough salt. Believe it or not, when you flush your glycogen stores and your body gets rid of, like I said, the glucose that's stored and it has to switch to fat, your body flushes out all this water. And so in order to keep water in your body, you have to add a little bit of salt to what you're making. And a lot of the things you're cooking is from scratch anyways, or are from scratch anyways. So frankly, adding a little bit of salt is not too big of a burden. But she's right. She's absolutely right. Your body will detox from sugar, and it's going to hurt. Like, you'll have a little bit of a headache, but that will go away. It's very temporary because the gains that you're going to see in your weight loss itinerary, who is she? Bunch of whoosies. Yeah, you're gonna find that actually, it's very manageable, and you'll feel like that was completely worth it. It's just like when you give up like caffeine or you give up smoking. Now, somebody asked me in my last video, they said, well, Mike, how did you quit smoking? God, I wish I could explain it in words, because it was one of those things that I had to actually come to terms with and say to myself, Mike, enough is enough. And somehow I found it within me, and I fought it, and truth be told, I was never even okay, so when I lived in America, I wasn't a smoker. But then I went and lived in France for a while, and that's when I became like a big smoker. Because it was such a socially acceptable thing to do. And actually, that was part of a weak period in my life, because when I found that when I was smoking, I would justify it by saying, well, I'm going to have a drink because I want a cigarette, and it was like a vicious cycle between the two. And your body goes through it with all these withdrawals, but actually, the one for keto is very temporary. And again, I don't know why she's, I don't know why she's explaining it to us like this.
I'm starting to get kind of leg cramps a little bit, or I can feel them wanting to start.
Salt.
So I'm going to need
Salt.
to work on the electrolytes.
You need
I'm going to
salt.
get some of the sugar-free Gatorade to drink.
You don't
and
need
then,
that.
There's this.
You don't need that.
I drank it before, and I can't remember. You make it with pink Himalayan salt and water, and there's a name for it, but I can't remember the name for it. A lot of people were concerned because some of the foods that I was eating is kind of high in sodium, but you need the sodium.
The reason why the foods that you're eating are high in sodium is because you're doing dirty keto and you're not actually going to prepare a lot of this yourself. The idea behind dirty keto is that you're finding tricks that are low carb but are easy to make. But if actually you just throw things in a Ninja Foodie or you're like your Instapot, things are really easy to cook and it doesn't have to be as processed. The end. My opinion. Well, not even my opinion. Somebody came at me the last video and they were like, well, you always say my opinion. Yeah, because keto is a very personalized thing. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be like that. You can have good meals and they're easy to cook. You don't have to do dirty keto and say it with pride that that's what you're doing.
Diet to replace
Dirty
those losses
keto should
of
be
your
a
electrolyte
pinch.
imbalance.
In a pinch.
I know that there are some supplements. I need to get back to read what the supplements are. I think it was niacin, if I'm not mistaken. I have the bottles of it from when I did it before. I just need to pull them out and start taking those. So all in all, it's been a good week. I am very encouraged. When I see the scale move like that, it gives me the encouragement to keep pushing forward and not give up. Before when I...
And don't give up, because actually 9 pounds in a week for your first week of keto is not unheard of. But a lot of that, again, is the fluid that her body is flushing because of glycogen stores, because your body needs water to process glucose and sugar. It's flushed it out. So people are going to say, but that's just water weight. But that's not a bad thing, right? That's the start, right? Because that's why you would feel bloated and you'll feel like really gross, like after you eat like a lot of carbs, because your body is just holding on to water molecules in order to process that glucose. So fine. And actually, keto is really good in my opinion in the research I've done, because my dad, he's pre-diabetic, but he's also in his 70s. So at that age, he can eat whatever he wants. I mean, I'm not gonna eat what you want. You've done a good job in your life. Do what you want. But frankly, that will also help, because you're restricting your body's sugar intake, and it's not going to cause glucose spikes and whatever. It's good for people that could potentially be dealing with things like diabetes.
I was barely seeing the scale move.
I'm not a doctor.
I would get
but that's just
discouraged
my
and think,
research.
why bother? Why bother depriving myself of this food if I'm not going to see any results? And with keto, that's the greatest thing with keto. I don't feel deprived. A lot of people
Ever. I
on
never
both
do.
sides of keto think that it's not healthy. My doctor did clear me for keto. I think I've
I
told the
eat
story
one
in the
meal
past
a day
week,
and I'm
especially-
never hungry.
Especially when it very first happened. I'm playing with a little notepad that I wrote my weights down on. When I very first started, maybe not very first started keto, but when I was doing keto before, when I went to my doctor, I asked her if keto was okay, when she was doing my blood work to make sure everything was going okay. There was a doctor in the practice, the head doctor had used keto and lost, I forget how much weight it was now, so she was totally on board with me doing keto. My blood levels were all fine, my cholesterol and blood pressure, sugar, all that kind of stuff is fine. So, that's the reason for the sodium. You need to keep your sodium levels up so you don't get cramps and all those other kinds of things during keto. Somebody else can explain it a lot better than I can. I am nowhere near
I
an
just
expert at
did.
keto, obviously. And
I just did
I
explain
recommend
it.
Keto Diamonds. She is like keto queen and knows everything there is to know about keto.
I'm
I
not
also
the
enjoy
keto
Christy
queen.
Davis. She knows a lot about keto, and I get a lot of good ideas from her of food to eat. And in fact, I'm going to be meal prepping some of her ideas this coming week next week, starting Sunday, to try to get myself a little bit more prepared. Dinner is the hardest because Gene is not doing keto, and I'm sure that he would have no problem doing it with me. He supports me 100%, and he is very
Come on,
proud of
Jen.
me. He was
You're just
ecstatic
as
this
boring
morning
as
when
me
I weighed
today.
in,
Come
and he
on.
was very proud of me. But for right now, he's not doing keto, and I don't want him to be deprived of food just because I'm not eating it. And I know that it's not.
That's one really frustrating thing about doing keto when your partner doesn't, is because I've said this to you before. I always make sure that whenever he's home, he eats a home cooked meal. He travels a lot, right? And I end up doing that because I know exactly what goes in it. I get really paranoid about what he's gonna try to cook for that evening. But a lot of times it ends up me I have to cook 2 meals, right? It might be the same meat source or whatever, but then I have to make him, something else, or make it as a sandwich for him or something like that. And that can be really frustrating. So Jen, don't give in there. Don't do that.
Cakes, cookies, that type of thing. He has his little stash of food that he keeps in a special place where I can't get to. And honestly, I haven't even been tempted. I know that it's here. I could probably get to it if I wanted to. It's clear in the back of the closet, and there's a bunch of totes stacked in front of it. And I would have to really work to get it if I wanted it, which if I really wanted it, the motivation would be there, but I don't feel really that motivated to get it. I have my little treats.
Your husband
and I
has
feel
to
okay
hide
with that.
food
But
from you.
like I said, dinner is usually the hardest to prepare for because I'm trying not to eat a breakfast. Well, my first meal is like a breakfast food usually, but I'm not eating 3 meals a day usually. If anything, it's 2 meals and a snack it could be considered as a third meal, but I'm okay with breakfast, dish, and lunch, or the first, let's just say I eat 3 meals. The first 2 meals I'm okay with. It's just the third meal, the dinner meal, when I have to think of something to make Gene. I mean, of course, he's a grown man, he can make his own food, but
So why doesn't
I
he?
want to do that for him. I'm his domestic little housewife, and I want to prepare food for him, prepare his dinner. I feel like I want to take care of him. So I've been trying to think of different things to make him that he can have left over for a couple nights, where I don't have to think about cooking every night for him. Or there are some nights where he just prepares something himself, or if we're just having chicken in that, he's totally fine with that too. And then he'll just open something, to put with it.
Hurry up.
So,
Come on, seriously.
there you go. There's my weigh-in for this week. 9.2 pounds gone, and I cannot wait for next week to see what next it holds. And now stay tuned for my day yesterday, which is my day 7 on keto, and I'll show you what I ate and a couple of things I did. Yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys back tomorrow with another video. Stay tuned for the clips from yesterday.
Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, guys. But I've tried to be really positive throughout this whole thing, because I can't be mad at somebody for genuinely trying keto. But if she were to fail or she were to not do well and she comes up with every excuse like the other two, I'll be upset. Frankly, I'm just a firm believer in how it works. And again, it's a very personal thing, so what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. But I do hope you enjoyed this video today, and I would appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have questions about keto or the rest of it, again, I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, but I can tell you at least it worked for me. Jen, I'm not mad at you, but keep going. Look, I was positive today. I wasn't ranting. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you soon. Merci. Au revoir.